Well, hello, Zella. How are you? I'd like to welcome you to the Voices Here podcast. I thank you for stopping by and partaking in a sandwich.
Very good, very good, very good.
Yeah, why don't you tell the folks out there listening what you're eating? The origin story of this sandwich.
I think it's a vegan muffaletta, right? I think the first time I tried it was at Core Cafe in the French Quarter.
Cafe Core, that was where I GM'd in the French Quarter. Shout out Dana and China. Shout out Carmel. So I promised you that I would make you your own sandwich. So this is kind of like a remix. This is like the vegan sandwich with muffaletta bread pared down because French cuisine goes way too, or Italian cuisine goes way too hard on the bread. I didn't want your belly hurting later on. But all vegan, all delightful. I hope it sustains your belly. I'm going to wait until after we finish the podcast for me to eat because I'm likely to be smacking in the mic. I was interested in bringing people on the show who I feel represent the fabric of this city of New Orleans, past, present, and moving forward, right? So first, I always ask people, your relationship to New Orleans. Are you a native? Are you a transplant? Or are you visiting?
I grew up in the 3rd Ward on Josephine and Barone.
Okay.
And then my mom moved us to the 11th Ward.
Okay.
Which is the Irish Channel now.
But this was like St. Thomas then, right?
Yeah. So the St. Thomas Project was next door to the 11th Ward, but it was in the 10th Ward.
Oh, gotcha.
So right when you cross Jackson, it's a whole nother ward between Jackson and Washington Avenue.
Gotcha.
So she bought a house there and raised us in the 11th Ward.
Okay.
Which was always kind of mixed, but it was very bad back in the day.
Mixed in terms of like income or mixed in terms of like...
Income and diversity as far as people.
Gotcha.
You know.
Have you lived anywhere else?
I lived in Oceanside, California for a couple of years.
Okay.
Trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life.
Yeah,
and,
if you were in Oceanside, you were trying to figure out what you were going to do with your life. Because most people don't end up in Oceanside unless they're in the military.
Right, and I wasn't in the military. So.
But yeah, home is in the military.
Right. I lived in Atlanta after Katrina.
Okay.
I lived in Dallas, Texas a little while before Katrina, maybe 2 years before Katrina.
Gotcha.
I was in Dallas, Texas trying to, I guess, meet the other side of my family or spend time with the other side of my family.
Gotcha.
Because my father's from Dallas.
From Dallas? Did you like it out in Dallas?
It was all right. Not New Orleans.
Yeah, Dallas is interesting to me because Dallas to me feels like the LA of Texas. Like that's what it's gunning for.
Right.
And any place I go, because I'm from LA, when I go and I feel like they have this culture that kind of models itself after LA, I just am not feeling it. The people were pretty cool, but like just atmosphere wise, I'll also give it credit. I wasn't there that long, but I definitely got a very LA vibe in Texas, which is weird because Texas is not LA. Right. But there's a big industry there too, I think.
Definitely. There's plenty of money, but the culture just wasn't like what I was used to here.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. Where else is New Orleans?
Nowhere.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you grew up here. Where else do you find New Orleans? It's interesting to me because, so, like, you know my story. My parents are both from here, but me and my sisters grew up in LA. My older sister actually grew up here, between here and LA, on and off. She stayed with my grandma and my auntie.
Mostly in LA or mostly here?
Mostly in LA, but she actually had like year stretches where she lived in New Orleans. Like, you know, she went to school here. She was here more. She knew the culture more. But so our relationship, me and Indigo's relationship to New Orleans was more like, this is where you go to see family in the summer.
Right. And then
and
you
in
go back
the holiday, yeah. So like, I also had older grandparents because my parents are like the youngest of their siblings. So coming here in the summers, pre-internet, it was like a time warp for me. I was being an LA City kid. I felt like New Orleans always felt like it was like 7-8 years behind what was happening in LA.
Still kind of behind.
I think the internet has definitely.
I'd love to, share my vision of what New Orleans sounds like in 2020.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I like that you actually, like, yes, you are a producer, you are a musician, but I feel like you're also like a ethnographer or musicologist almost. Like, because you come from such a culturally rich background, I feel like it resonates in the stuff that you create. You don't make just regular shit, or you don't pull from you, like your percussive background is very clear, right? You come up with shit percussively where I'm just like, get it, Zella. But you always manage to make it current and like make it uniquely your own, if that makes sense. It's like,
it's almost like if it's uniquely yours, it's gonna always be current.
yeah,
then
but
it won't follow because it's not
there's
gonna
some
really
people though
follow.
whose current is very dated. And I say this just because I'm a rapper and because I don't rap like what current rappers typically rap like. I get a lot of people who send me very dated stuff. Like, it's good, but it's not 1992. Like, it's 2021.
Right.
Because New Orleans is not a town for kids, right? So I didn't understand the magic of New Orleans when I was a kid. I loved my family. I felt like the best food on earth was here. I got fed well. People were sweet to me, but there was nothing to do. This is the 80s, so it's like the height of crack. I can't be outside playing in the street. Like, shit changed very quickly, you know? And I was just like, why do people live there? Like, it's mosquitoes, it's hot, it rains all the time. Like, I only knew New Orleans in the summer. And then I got older, and I talked my ex-husband into moving here, and it made sense. And it makes more sense to me every day, because now I realize so much of who I am is New Orleans culture.
Right.
But it was through my parents, through the house we grew up in.
Did you realize that though?
I didn't. You know, I realized that in moving back here. I realized that, like, my family always took people in. We always had somebody staying with us. You know, we always feeding somebody, helping somebody get somewhere. I like the shimmy. I always, like, my friends always would come over and like would always like feel the need to tell me how it felt super cozy and loving and warm. And, you know, we were kind of like a industry family, like within the black industry. So we grew up in a very like LA way. But my parents, thank God, were not that. They were two folks from New Orleans who happened to land in LA, meet each other, and decide to make a family. And so, like, even their approach to developing us as artists still comes from like a very cultured standpoint, not like I'm gonna put you on Star Search and you're gonna be a star. It's more like you better know your craft, you better study. This is how it's connected to the culture. Like, my mom has like one of the biggest black film and music archives, video archives. You know what I'm saying? Like, she made it a point to let us know all the dope black people who came before us, whether they were connected to us through bloodline or not, and that like everything you're making kind of honors what they started for you. So it wasn't until I moved back here, and it wasn't until actually it was a Mardi Gras, I want to say it was Mardi Gras 2010, maybe Mardi Gras 2011. It was the first time I did downtown Mardi Gras, right? Because my dad is from the 12th, right? So whenever, and he's the Mardi Gras guy. My mom is not into Mardi Gras. So
where's your mom from?
She's from Treme.
Wow.
Lafitte Project.
Right.
So.
Then moved to California.
Yeah, in '69, the year of the Watts riots.
Right.
So my dad is always the one who's like, come on out, we're gonna take you out to the parade and stuff. So I knew the Uptown parade stuff. And like I remember 2011 was my first year doing, I actually got initiated, I think the year before. So I was actually out there early doing the Agungu Masquerade Festival. And came across the Skull and Bone Gang. This is like before sunrise. And then it clicked for me. It was like, I felt like I had come home. It made sense culturally. This is stuff I experienced in Brazil, and I always wondered why Brazil felt so familiar to me.
Right.
When I lived in Brazil as a teenager, I remember being like, this reminds me of New Orleans, and not like, not being old enough to understand the diaspora fully, right? And like where we get dropped off and where we plant all the things that we have culturally.
Right.
So yeah, that Mardi Gras morning, walking with the Skull and Bone gang, it just made sense, and it was like, oh, like not only is this your home, but this particular area is like where you need to come back to. So it's funny to me that I end up buying a house,
Right.
because I wasn't thinking about it, right? Like that wasn't the goal.
Right.
Like I just end up, and not only buying a house in the Seventh Ward, but literally off my back porch. That house, cat a corner, was my mom's Moran's house. So she grew up playing in the back porch.
Right.
Like, my mom stood out on the porch one day and was just like, this is crazy. Like, I'm looking at Nanny's house. Like, like years later, after living in a different place. So me and my mom are interesting because we kind of have similar existences. She grew up here first and then ended up in LA, and now she returned here. I grew up in LA first, ended up here. I'm probably going to stay here, not all year round, but I'll be here. Right?
Going back to LA?
No, I don't think so. But you know what? To be honest, Ella, I got to tell you, as music kicks up and art kicks up, I do feel like LA will more than likely be an inevitable destination for work. And I'm not opposed to going back to LA if work requires me to do it.
Boys, I'm loving the sandwich.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's fine. No, it's fine. That's the whole point. The food element is a part of it. So, so why I decided it would be cool to make food for people is because I think that's also a big part of New Orleans culture, right? We party for everything, and there's food at everything. And so this is something that it took a minute for me to get used to, because I swear to God, the first 10 years I lived here, my weight fluctuated like 25 pounds either direction, depending on the weather, right?
Like, damn, girl, you got slim.
Serious. Ooh, yeah, all day. Like I have a section of the closet that's like April through
that's funny.
August, and then I have like September through March. But I always thought it was this beautiful thing that this connection of food happens between people. And it happens between people of all different social economic statuses, different neighborhoods, right? The shimmy. I'm happy that, so this was worth the bike ride over, huh? Let me tell y'all this. Zella, I love him to pieces, but I think there's only one other person on this planet who is more unpunctual than me. And so Zella's like, I'm on my way, literally has a window of like, I mean, it could be, it's usually never under 40 minutes, but it's like, it could be anywhere from like 40 minutes to 4 hours, right? Today, I hit up Zella because I was like, hey, you still coming through? We weren't even going to do the podcast. I was like, you still coming through? I was like, look, if you come through, you hungry? I can make it. Yeah, like, I'm there. He had a whole list of errands that he said he was about to do. I don't know what he got done, but he showed up at this door 1 hour and 9 minutes after we hung up, freshly showered, ready to go. And he rode a bike over. So let's knock off 15 minutes because he was in transit. So yeah, okay, so I see it. I gotta lure you with sandwiches, huh?
We need to do another interview next week.
We will do a few. So I did want to talk to you about what you want to talk about, Rollin Fatties or music or both?
It's all up to you.
All right. So
I enjoy it all.
All right. So you too are no newbie to the food service industry. You actually have, is it still the top food truck in the city?
I would always consider it the top food truck.
That's my kind of answer, man.
There's no other food truck like it.
This is true. This is true. So Zella is the co-owner of Rollin Fatties.
Rollin Fatties food truck.
There you go. Why don't you let folks know what you guys do and where they can find y'all online?
We sell world-inspired Tex-Mex. And you can find us online. I think we're on Twitter and on Instagram at Rollin Fatties NOLA on both spots.
Yeah.
But our website is under development. We hope to have that up real soon. It's been a couple years we've been working on it. And we kind of just hit Tulane.
Yeah.
We're a lunch business. We do movies sometimes. We do catering for television shows and conferences. But
because we have a big film industry out here. People don't realize that outside of New York and LA, we get anywhere from 80 to 200 productions.
Right.
This is also part of how I earn my living. My background in acting has come back full circle, even though I haven't professionally acted in, given my age, but like 23 years. Over the years, I've taped quite a few people here in the city. So I know what you mean when you say like there's catering opportunities for films. Any films we might know or TV shows?
Film, we did Girls Trip.
Ooh.
We were actually in Girls Trip.
Okay, where? So they could look and find y'all.
I think it was during the Essence shoot.
Oh, okay.
So it was like where they had the food trucks.
So the truck was out there? Mm-hmm. If y'all are watching Girls Trip anytime soon, I want one of y'all to screenshot the Rollin Fatties food truck on Girls Trip and tag me so I can shout it out to Zella here. Because I want to know if y'all out there watching, if you peeping. And this is like their authentic truck. It wasn't reflipped or designed for the movie, right? Yeah, so if you're in town visiting, typically Rollin Fatties is on Tulane.
1430 Tulane.
There you go.
Avenue, New Orleans, Louisiana. And I think the zip code is 7019.
I think so, yeah. And Zella, he didn't really give the menu his full shine. I will tell you this. There are vegan and vegetarian options.
Right, but the chicken is the go-to.
The chicken is my jam.
We do, what is it, grilled chicken?
Yeah. It's like stewed. Is it pulled? Yeah, okay. I highly recommend, just if you need some help, although Yelp will give you a lot of suggestions, I rocks with the chicken bowl. That's my jam. Did you see me tag you the other day?
Yes, I did.
I was in here like, I don't want to bug Zella. I really thought about it. I was like, maybe if I make up a sandwich, you'll make me a chicken bowl. I really thought about it. I was like, maybe we could do a barter. I was like, by the time I get hold of Zella, I'm just fucking make this shit. It was all right, but you know, for me, it's that secret recipe of the chicken. Like, I didn't make that. I didn't even try. I could do the beans and stuff, but I was like, I'm gonna just make me a little TVP, call it a day. Yeah, I wasn't about to stew chicken. So it did its thing. All right, any music you're working on?
Because we're about to release an issue of For What For You, the instrumentals.
Okay.
So it's my previous album is just some of the instrumentals from the project.
And the previous album was called For What For You?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're releasing that, and then I've been working on a lot of music with Paco.
Okay.
We're shooting a new video for him this weekend.
And what kind of music is it?
He's actually kind of stretching it a little bit, and Paco's singing a little bit more.
Uh-oh.
It's a song with him and Noon Goon, Nisha Ruffins.
Okay.
And he's kind of being a little bit more melodic.
Are you going to be on it vocally too?
I just do my Zella talk, but I am not.
You do more than your Zella talk. Don't
I feel
you
you,
even
but
try.
On that particular
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, don't sit here and act like you just do your Zella. You in college. You actually fucking rap.
Right.
I've heard you sing. You clearly write. You be getting your Quincy Jones on.
Yes, ma'am.
Zella love him from Quincy Jones, y'all.
That's my dog.
That's my dog.
Jesus was a Jackson. Yes, indeed. But definitely, I'm real excited about this project coming out of New Orleans called Global South. Okay. Global Warming is what it's called. Global Warming, not Global South. Global Warming. And it's a collective of guys who got a bunch of artists together in the city. And they just started bringing all these producers and musicians in. They went and got a deal. And they putting out the first album. I'm sad that I'm not on the first album. But it's dope that somebody's doing that and curating this. You know, they got like a studio and
it's young cats?
The cats who put it together are different ages, but they're all like in the industry.
Gotcha.
They're operating as basically like an incubator type.
Oh, okay. But like
they're just finding talent, doing the paperwork, and they're not signing anybody. They're
and so the talent
doing
still retains
splits.
ownership. Oh, they're doing splits.
Yeah, they're just
Gotcha.
doing splits, and then they retain like 10-15%
Gotcha.
of everything, and
That's
they're
good to
promoting
know.
it and pushing it.
That's good to know. There's people in the city willing to invest in creativity. That's always important.
Right, and being fair with the actual splits.
Well, yeah, I was like I've been spending the last year, majority of the pandemic, kind of like restructuring my approach to music business. I've had, I've been putting music out professionally since 2001. 20 years. 20 years. And thankfully, like, I've always been somebody who kind of had my business together, but because so much has changed over the last 2 decades in entertainment and in music particular, there's so many little things that if you don't stay on top of it, you can kind of just fall through the cracks, right? And one of the cool things that in like growing my listenership and like getting back out there releasing music, I've been really fascinated by these non-traditional business models, right? You have a lot of indie artists who are now in this space where it's very obvious to them that it's of no benefit to them to sign to a major label unless that major label is allowing them to retain a certain amount of creative control, but they're not, because you're going to get all their promo and distribution channels in exchange for what you sign away. Right. Yeah. So, but I have come across a couple people who they have business models that they get investors, and it's not like, old school rap shit where it's just like drug dealer throws like 40 racks into your career and you better keep a nice relationship with them. Right. It's just like legit VC people, who are looking for artists who can see the potential, who can see that the streams are growing and compounding. So you said this collective here in the city, they've been investing in rappers, singers, just
I'd say artists in general.
And that includes like the music videos and
everything.
Really? Would name a couple rappers or who are the artists?
Pal, Crucial. I think PJ Morton is affiliated with this.
Okay, gotcha.
Tank.
Okay.
And the Bangers.
Okay.
Lil Iceberg.
Okay. Where?
Nayo.
Dope.
Nayo did the first single.
Okay.
Okay. I'd love to, share my vision of what New Orleans sounds like in 2020.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I like that you actually, like, yes, you are a producer, you are a musician, but I feel like you're also like a ethnographer or musicologist almost. Like, because you come from such a culturally rich background, I feel like it resonates in the stuff that you create. You don't make just regular shit, or you don't pull from like your percussive background is very clear, right? You come up with shit percussively where I'm just like, get it, Zella. But you always manage to make it current and like make it uniquely your own, if that makes sense. It's like,
it's almost like if it's uniquely yours, it's gonna always be current.
Yeah, but there's some people though whose current is very dated. And I say this just because I'm a rapper and because I don't rap like what current rappers typically rap like. I get a lot of people who send me very dated stuff. Like, it's good, but it's not 1992. Like, it's 2021.
Right.
A certain nod to a certain era of rap, right? But I would like to be more of a bridge for those people who've been looking for that kind of stuff, but kind of bring them into right now and move them into the future. Like, It doesn't have to stay with this particular sound, if that makes sense. And I never get that from your music. I feel like your music is always very New Orleans, but it's always very New Orleans via Africa. Like, Africa is super present. But not in this obvious, like, you doing a Fela Afrobeat track, you know, like it's hip hop, but I hear the Africa, I hear all of that, the polyrhythms and all that, right? Do you find that do artists get it? Like the artists that you work with, do they understand or do they kind of question?
I think they understand that it's different,
and
I think they like it.
And it's changed so much over the years
like
too.
Because music is because you literally can have a laptop and that is your studio. I just feel like there's more people doing music now.
There is.
But it was always a lot of people doing music. It's just at your fingertips now. And you can have quality at your fingertips for very cheap.
And you can share it.
Right.
Instantly.
So because of that, I just think it's just more opportunities to hear more people, to discover more people. But I think your question was, do the artists that I work with understand?
Yeah, like do they come, like I know for me, I have a roster of producers that are my go-tos that I know I can go to them for a certain mood or a certain, you know, like
because they understand you.
They understand me, and I know that they can pull that. I know I can pull, or our connection brings this thing, right? So I just wonder if like these younger cats know what they got in you in terms of like variety, and
I think they might not maybe look at it the same, but I think they feel it.
Gotcha. It is a feeling, so.
Right. So you might not know how to describe it, but you know what sounds good to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that everybody, you know, so many people on this earth, that the chances that people feel like you it's not slim. It's very, you know, if you can reach them, they are there.
They are in fact there. I had a girl.
But you might have a time when most people feel like you. And that's what we're all trying to get to. Is to be able to connect at that time when most people feel and understand you.
Yeah.
And get it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the artists do. I just think the frustration with artists that I meet are basically in maybe the marketing side of music. Yeah. Because they have, a lot of the artists are proven that they can make good music.
Yeah. But they just don't know how to get it to the people that need to hear it.
Right.
Yeah. There's a big education component that was missing for me for years. And I can say like I'm somebody who typically puts out a project every 3 years, 3 to 3.5 years. Whether they're out there now or not still, every 3.5 years I have compiled enough work or had enough living experience to release what I feel is new material. And it's really interesting because when I knew I wanted to put music out again, I knew I didn't want to waste an entire album, right? Because I don't think I had enough ears listening anyway for it to make enough of an impact. And then I kind of just studied this model of like, let's just release singles, let's roll them out, let's see where they go. And that on top of like investing in studying with a academy, a music marketing academy, in addition to, and this is just for like people who are doing music out there. I get a lot of DMs and emails from people requesting to collaborate or wanting to know like how they could go about doing this and all this stuff. So one, I'm going to tell y'all, don't reach out to an artist and ask them to collaborate if you do not have any material established. Okay? You might be totally missing out on an opportunity because you weren't ready. Right. So wait until you're ready, you know, and don't feel desperate like you have to. Sometimes, you know, you can follow an artist, you see an artist follows you, keep them in your back pocket, you know, wait until you know you have that fire that really represents what you know you're capable of. And I get a lot of people who like, hey, can we collaborate? And I'm like, send me something to your music. Oh, I don't have anything. It's like, well, then you shouldn't be hitting me up to collaborate because this is not for play, you know, like I got kids I'm feeding here. So I can say for the marketing, even though you might not understand this, for those of you who are new to making music, right now you have so much access to free information, like free information. I invested into an academy because I work hard enough that I don't want to sit there and spend my whole day searching for stuff, right? But
it's there.
It's there. I come from an era where you had to pay a lot of money to get things accomplished.
Right, to get the information.
Everything. Like, I mean...
Right. You probably just get the service, no
information.
information.
I mean, like, when me and Skia started Feather Perm Records in 2004, we were in LA still. It was just before we moved here. To film a decent quality, low budget, independent music video, I couldn't get a quote for under $8,000. LA. Right. And this is cats who have established records, have IMDb credits, you know what I'm saying? Shot
I seen a nigga the other day
music videos.
He had you could get a music video with a Sony Red camera now for $4,000.
That's what I'm saying. This was a Red back then. Well, the equivalent of what would have been a Red back then. 8 racks. It's LA, so you know you're gonna need permits and all this other stuff. I remember you'd have to hire a marketing company to even know who you're trying to sell this music to. That was like 20 racks right off the top. Like, to have an independent record label in the early 2000s, you needed at least like $150,000
to get the first project.
Just to get the first project off the ground. So
right, I went through that already. I wasted money with marketing companies,
studio time, marketing companies, you name it. So it's interesting to me now, and y'all are gonna learn this, that the music I'm putting out now, that I've been putting out for the last 8-9 months, is music that I made over 12 years ago, music that I've toured the world on, that at the time the technology wasn't in place, the direct access to your audience wasn't in place. You had to have a middleman and a gatekeeper. This was still like the last wave of getting like decent indie advances. But that was in exchange for ownership. And I remember I went to Europe, toured on this project, came back, and I got a couple offers, but I didn't feel like they were worth it. And so after a year of pushing, I just shelved the project. I was like, well, maybe one day there'll be a way to directly connect with people, because I know that this is for people. I just don't have the patience to wait for somebody at a label to have the same vision as me, right? And so what's crazy is this little bit of education in music marketing, this, being in a place financially where I can invest into myself, has changed the game completely. Like, my ability to get directly to my people, they write me, they tell me I gotta I'm about to brush back up on Portuguese because apparently I do well in Brazil, but I see the difference. And these people don't know this music is old, because I try not to make it doesn't matter, right? Because it's new to them, right? That's one thing I learned, and it required me having to put my pride as an artist aside, because as artists we make shit, and when we share it, we want it to reflect
the time, right?
Yeah, where we're at right now. And for me, this is not where I'm at right now, but it's not bad, right? This was my best 12 years ago, which thankfully hip hop just got worse. So
that's funny.
It's I could contend. And I always wasn't doing trendy or current stuff. So it fit. It's kind of like timeless music, right? And you wait long enough, certain shit just comes back. But for me, releasing this project has literally been like a social science experiment on what happens when people have access to technology. I'm a single mom. The fact that it doesn't cost me that much to promote and spread my brand and bring awareness, that's amazing to me. I don't necessarily need a team at this point. I can do it. It does require a considerable amount of work. I'm not even going to downplay the work. And that's why I think a lot of artists aren't as successful, because, you could be the best, the most creative, visionary ever, but if you don't have the oomph behind you to turn it into a business and like push that business, then you just that creative mofo in your crib that a couple of people know about.
Right.
So yes, I do advise artists to invest in marketing. It matters. Because the people who love you, they love you, but they might not like be your fans.
Right.
And I always felt that way. I never felt, I'm not naturally a promoter, right? That's my pops. And it actually bugs me about his personality. Now it doesn't. Now I'm like, Dad, I got a song coming out. You think you could throw it on your on Facebook?
Right.
But as a kid, I used to hate it because I walk into a room and the person be like, oh, your dad told me that you did X. I'm like, why are you out here putting my business out in the streets? And he's, you know,
He's proud.
He's proud, but I'm like,
right.
I'm a private person. And he's just like, nigga, I'm a promoter. They gonna know what you do. Is there anything that you're looking forward to in 2021? Or
2021, I look forward to growing my knowledge of business. I want to take my food business to the next level. I'm an owner operator, head of operations, so I want to master operations and creating systems. And I want to become a better producer.
Dope.
So
it's an upgrade year, huh?
Definitely. I want to upgrade all my equipment. I want to upgrade everything. I want to be a better rapper. I want to be a better... But producing is like my number one thing I want to enhance. I want to like bring that to the forefront, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
I feel like I was without my computer for about 2 months, and I feel like I never felt like that in a long time.
Just like alone?
Yeah, just not being able to do nothing, you know? Not being able to put out what's in my head.
So you're somebody who always tinkers and is making stuff? Because like you're a busy person, right. I know this.
So I'll go back and just be fucking with old shit. Or, you know, to me, it's not really old. It is just either unfinished or finished.
Yeah.
You know, some things take me a day or an hour to finish, and some things take me a while.
Gotcha.
You know, sometimes I don't hear it. And I come back and I'll be like, man, this bitch really is
you get some distance
cold.
On it, yeah.
And
I do that.
Really
I do that with some
you know?
things that I write. I have a lot of. It's weird because like when I said that I put out this old project in unearthing this old music, it reminded me of what my old process was. And I used to be somebody who you could send music to, and I just write a fucking song. Like it was more like the habit of writing, right? And I could just knock out a song. But I don't think that they were always the most fleshed out, thoughtful, best, right? It was just more like I came from this era of like rap was a workout. So you work it out. Sometimes like I have an idea of what I'm trying to do, but I'm not necessarily technically executing it, right? But I'm not afraid to try in front of somebody. And I really don't want it to stay like how I lay it out. I just lay it out that way, and I'm thinking like, oh, you probably have a vision for where you want to position stuff and all that, you know. And I've only had like maybe.
Do you communicate with them that you want?
I have. Like it's really interesting. Like
it could be two things. It could be either they really just agree with you on what you've done, or they don't have a vision.
So this is why I was saying that it started to benefit me to learn sound design and how to track my vocals and create the vision, right? Because I know that I hear certain things, and I think some of my better songs are songs that I really spent a lot of time on the vocal production end, right? But even with that, it's like I'm not locked into anything. I think because I have this kind of free agent spirit, it doesn't have to stay that way. And I don't feel like everybody pushes it. So for me personally, I think where I have control over that is like the live show, which is why I said I want to take this Ableton course, because I'm bored just standing there rapping or singing. Like I know that there's so much more that I could be doing and so much more that I hear the songs could be doing that if I have the ability to do that with an audience right there, like, why the hell not? You know? Well, we're going to wrap this one up like a burrito.
Yes, indeed.
Like a Rollin Fatty burrito.
Rollin Fatties.
Rollin Fatties, New Orleans. Next time you're here, check them out. Rollin Fatties NOLA on...
Rollin Fatties NOLA on Instagram and Twitter. NOLA, Rollin without the G, Fatties, Fatties.
Make sure you check out this man's music.
Ze11a, everywhere.
Ze11a. He said it very New Orleans. Ze11a. That is Ze11a, y'all. Zella. Zella also, I know I didn't mention this, but if you are out there listening and you love the track Dope, Zella is who produced Dope.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that. So we have collaborated too. Zella also did the percussion on How Can I Love You off of Cuts. So when you when you go to stream Cuts and go to How Can I Love You, the opening percussion is Zella on a porch in the 9th Ward.
That's funny. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
On a porch in the 9th Ward. Yep. That's what we talk about. Like, that's New Orleans, like art being made everywhere.
On a porch.
Yep. So I want to thank y'all for listening. You know where to find me. I'm at Voice Monet across all platforms. It would really help me if you head over to YouTube, sub the page, got notifications there, because as I get more listenerships, I'm going to be developing the podcast on the visual tip. And if you would like to see these conversations versus listen to them, they will be available for you. Again, I appreciate y'all listening. This is Voices Here. I'll catch you next time. Thank you, Zella.
Yes, baby.